It's May, and this is the Library Roadshow. On the show today, best-selling author Lisa Wingate, trending with Game of Thrones, and a salute to our veterans. Welcome to the May edition of the Library Roadshow. I'm Mary Stein, and this is a production of your East Baton Rouge Parish Library System. We're pretty much wrapping up our Spring One Book One community program and heading into summer. We've enjoyed a robust series of programs and events centered around Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's great detective and all things Sherlock. Everything from escape rooms to DNA to authors to violins, bees, teas, and even hounds. Thanks to all who participated. And now, on to the next big thing, summer reading. This year's theme is a universe of stories, and it'll take us literally out of this world with a special focus on the 50th anniversary of the first lunar landing. We begin on Tuesday, May 28th and run through the end of July. Just as in previous years, children, teens, and adults sign up to read and earn prizes all summer long. Our littlest ones sign up too. You do the work and they get the credit. And just as in previous years, a galaxy of free programs for all ages and interests at every library branch. We'll launch the summer reading program for our younger readers with performances from Harvey Rabbit and Friends, The Stinky Cheese Man, and visits from the Sheriff's K-9 officers. And then take off from there. We won't ignore the teens and 20-somethings either. They'll have plenty of workshops and events as options. For more information, check out the May edition of The Source or visit your local library.
Free access to books, audio, and library resources are just a few of the benefits available to you when you get a library card. Need free access to a computer? You get that. Want free access to premium digital resources like Mango Languages and lynda.com? You get that. Need to book a meeting space? You get that. Heck, you can even check out a telescope or use a digital printer with your library card. If you live in East Baton Rouge Parish, pick up your free library card from your local branch library today. Premium access to everything the library system has to offer is waiting for you.
We hope and expect that our students learn critical thinking skills as they move up through middle school and high school, but that doesn't happen overnight. Debate topics and position papers that require students to articulate the pros versus the cons become more sophisticated and demanding, so our students often struggle for clarity, especially on a popular or widely discussed topic. We can easily lose sight of the forest for the trees, but the library has an outstanding resource to help navigate this sea of information. Adam St. Pierre joins us now to explain in the digital download.
Teachers, are you looking for a place to guide your students in their position papers? Students, do you have no idea what to write about for current events? Then it sounds like you need Opposing Viewpoints in Context. Opposing Viewpoints in Context provides you with featured viewpoints, biographies, primary sources, academic journals, and so much more on a huge variety of issues facing our world today. So whether you're trying to write about women in politics, fake news on social media, U.S. borders, or bioethics, Opposing Viewpoints in Context has you covered. And it's all available at the low price of free at your East Baton Rouge Parish Library. To check out Opposing Viewpoints in Context, head over to the digital library at ebrpl.com.
Thanks, Adam. Even if you're not trying to set up a pro-con argument, the facts are laid out so well that you can use the summary information and move on from there. There's just so much information out there. It's really hard to separate fact from fiction, so you can come to your own informed conclusions. Let's shift gears and check in with Kayla Perkins, reporting in from Beyond the Stacks.
It's always a thrill to bring famous authors to Baton Rouge, and they don't get any more noteworthy than this. Your East Baton Rouge Parish Library aims to bring you up close and personal with good books and great authors. We're at the main library at Goodwood for a special talk with New York Times best-selling author Lisa Wingate. Let's check it out.
Every book of mine starts with some kind of a spark, and I never know what it will be, but just something I come across that intrigues me, that fascinates me, that I have questions about, that I wonder why I've never heard of. And when I first came across the story of this woman who held sway over adoption in Tennessee for almost 3 decades and placed thousands of kids in adoptions, many of whom were just stolen from poor families to be sold off in adoptions for profit, I just wondered, how does something like this happen? How does it go on for decades and nobody stops it? How does she get away with it? You know, I had those questions, and the novel really just grew out of wanting to answer those questions.
As a New York Times bestselling author, Lisa Wingate has a busy schedule. I asked her why she continues to support programming like this through local libraries.
One of the reasons I think libraries are so relevant still today, and programs like this and book clubs and things like that are so relevant, is that if you think about the way life has changed in the course of my lifetime, you know, when I was a kid, I knew the man who pumped our gas. We knew the people in the grocery store. Everywhere you went in a day, you were part of a community. And these days, there's hardly any place we still do community. And one of the few places we still do that is the library. It's one of the few places we gather to talk face-to-face about things. And I think that's why library book clubs and library events like this matter. It brings together a diverse group of people face-to-face to talk about something.
It was a real pleasure to meet Lisa Wingate and a rare opportunity to ask her if she had any tips for aspiring authors.
Take a little time to really understand the publishing industry. There are many options these days, but because there are many options, there are also a lot of scams. And so, you know, when you see that thing on TV that says, "Have you written a book?" We'll run right out there and publish it for you.
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true. If it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. And it also it depends on what your goals are. If your goal is just to tell your story and put it out there, and you don't really care if it's a big moneymaker or you sell a lot of copies, then, you know, something where you're going to put it out there yourself might be for you. But if your goal is, you know, that you want to make a living doing it or something, then you need to really learn the business, whether you're going to publish it independently yourself or whether you're going to seek a publisher for it. You take a little time to really learn the business, because I just see, look before you leap, because, you know, if you've taken the time to write something, you care deeply about it. You've put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. You've maybe put your life story or your family story in there. And the worst thing is for that to just end up in heartbreak.
Are you a writer who'd like to get your work into the hands of eager readers? Go to the library's website to learn about the Louisiana Author Project. To find out what's coming up next, pick up a copy of our monthly newsletter, The Source, or visit us online at www.ebrpl.com.
We spent a wonderful evening with Lisa. She answered many questions about the incredible true story of the stolen children, which led her to write Before We Were Yours. We were all excited to hear that she has completed a nonfiction book about the recent reunion event for the now grown children adopted from the Tennessee Children's Home Society based in Memphis. It just proves that truth is stranger than fiction. These days, our genealogists can do a lot to help fill in the gaps in your family tree, and DNA testing can really provide clues, even for children of adoption. Visit with the staff in the Baton Rouge room for more information. Stay right there. After the break, Jennifer Kramer joins me for a chat right here on the Library Roadshow.
Hi, I'm Ken Jeong from the new movie Wonder Park. In the film, a young girl finds a fantastical amusement park straight out of her childhood imagination. For a magical adventure of your own, look no further than your local library, which has books, games, and activities promoting creativity and discovery. Find something wonderful at your library.
Do you wonder how your family landed here? Do you really know your family roots? Discover more about your family history at the East Baton Rouge Parish Library Genealogy Department. East Baton Rouge Parish Library. Become a member and discover more.
You're watching the May edition of the Library Roadshow, everything you need to know about your local library system. You know, we're so fortunate to have the T. Harry Williams Center for Oral History right here in Baton Rouge at LSU. They've been a great library partner for many years, and Jennifer Kramer is the director of the center. She's serving as one of the point persons for a very important event this May, capturing the stories of our local veterans. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, tell me about this Veterans History Project.
So, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project is coming to town. They're coming to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Ooh,
yes,
yeah.
on over Memorial Day holiday.
It couldn't be better, could it?
Couldn't be better timing. So on May 25th from 10 to 2, Veterans History Project staff from the Library of Congress will be on hand along with volunteers.
Right here.
To hear veterans' stories.
Okay. And which veterans?
So all veterans are welcome.
So not just World War II.
Not just World War II, exactly. So anybody who has served in the military from World War I, which is probably unlikely, all the way through the current conflicts today.
And whether they served overseas or served right here at home, peacetime, wartime, we just want to hear from them.
Exactly. Everybody has a story to tell. And the Library of Congress Veterans History Project is really looking for stories that show the realities of serving in the United States military.
Right. It's not always just like the movies, is it?
It isn't.
In fact, it's probably never like the movies.
Exactly. So daily life from all walks of life, from various perspectives over time.
Who are the local partners that have come together to bring this to life?
So we are working alongside the USS Kidd. We are working with the Old War School with LSU, and we are working with the Military and Veterans Students Center as well.
That's great.
All these volunteers will be on hand, and as well as the American Oyster Association.
What is that?
It's a nonprofit organization, and they're willing and excited to come and help out and do interviews. And I believe I mentioned
the American Legion.
American Legion, and of course the East Baton Rouge Parish Library.
We'll be right there because it's going to happen right here. In fact, we've reserved lots of different rooms so that we can allow our veterans to have their private space so that they can work with a trained volunteer who will be working to kind of draw out some of the stories. You don't have to come with a story ready. They're just going to ask you some leading questions, open-ended questions, and see where the conversation goes, right?
Just show up.
Okay.
You are in good hands. People who have been trained by the Library of Congress staff on how to do interviews and usually are very knowledgeable about military experiences so that they will guide you to answer questions and to tell your story.
That's great. So this is going to take place again Saturday, May 25th, so Memorial Day weekend from 10 to 2 right here at the main library. There will be volunteers. There will be staff from the Library of Congress. We're very excited about that. And then, of course, you and your staff will be here. How do people register for this event, or do they have to register?
You can register, and there is a flyer with information about how to do that. So you can just there's a phone number to call and a website to go to.
And we'll put that up on the screen.
Indeed.
Okay,
but you don't have to.
So you can just walk in.
You can.
So my message here is, if you have a loved one who is a veteran, you might want to encourage them to come with you to the library, and you be that buddy that kind of gets them here to let that story be free.
Exactly, because these stories are going to be available for the entire United States, and the Library of Congress will preserve them and make them available to researching public. And so it's not just about getting your story told and preserved, it's about having it accessible for generations to come.
Right, and some of those generations may be school kids, some of them may be researchers. We'll all learn from this event. All right, well, this is such an important project, and the one thing I know is that you and the volunteers are going to make sure that our veteran stories are collected with care and sensitivity, and I really appreciate that. Don't make the same mistake that I did and keep putting it off. I really wish I'd interviewed my dad before he passed away. Find out more details in the May edition of the Library Source. After the break, Greer McAllister, plus we have book reviews with one of our younger patrons. All that and more coming up next on the Library Roadshow.
I'm Zoe Kravitz from Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Books are magical, and reading can transform your life. Libraries make sure people of all backgrounds can experience the wonder of literature through literacy programs and access to media. Spread the magic by supporting your library.
Welcome back to the May edition of the Library Roadshow. USA Today's best-selling author of The Magician's Lie, Greer McAllister, has just released a new book entitled Woman 99. Greer is a novelist, poet, short story writer, and playwright, and she joins me now by phone. Greer, how'd you get your start as an author?
I feel like I was writing from a very, very young age. I was writing poetry in second grade and short stories in fourth grade, and I feel in some way like I've always been a writer. But my first published novel was a work of historical fiction called The Magician's Lie, and from there I've been writing historical fiction ever since.
What's this new book about?
Woman 99 is set in an insane asylum in 1888. When a pampered young socialite pretends to be insane to rescue her sister from being committed by her parents. So there are a lot of different ways I talk about it. One of them is it's kind of a 19th century Orange is the New Black. It's a lot of women on the fringes of society coming together in a place where they can find community and friendship, really in the last place that you would think to look.
What inspired you to write Woman 99?
It was inspired by Nellie Bly, who was an intrepid reporter in the 1870s, 1880s, and beyond. She's famous for going around the world in less than 80 days, and she's also famous for pretending to be insane to infiltrate an insane asylum called Blackwell's Island. So Nellie was a journalist and wanted to expose the conditions that mentally ill people were institutionalized under in the 1880s. And so she pretended to be insane and got committed and published her findings there. I didn't want to write necessarily a novel about Nellie because she was a journalist and she wrote down everything that she did. So if you want to read Nellie's story, you can read what she wrote. But I use that as my jumping off point and my inspiration. You know, why else would somebody do something so intense and amazing and such a reach? So so my character, Charlotte, instead of going undercover as a journalist, goes undercover to rescue her sister.
What are you working on next?
I have several different projects going now, mostly secret. So I will hopefully be able to reveal more about that soon.
How can viewers keep up to speed with you?
The best way to find out what I'm up to is my website, GreerMcAllister.com. It's GreerMcAllister.com. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at The Lady Greer, and also on Facebook. So definitely reach out. I love to hear from readers. There's also a contact me section on my website. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Greer. I like your strong female characters, and your plots really move. We've got lots of copies of Greer's books available here in the library in regular print, large print, audio, and even downloadable formats. Check it out. I love to walk through the library and see all the kids, and even more, find out what they're reading.
Hi, my name is Margot. My favorite book is Possum Saves the Day. It's about Possum's mom running out the accelerator to make the possum's birthday cake. And then once Possum's friends come over, the baby alligator and So Pasama's mom says, go fetch me some celery to make the Pasama's birthday cake. My mom brings me to the library. When I come to the library, I like to look at the pictures from the books and go on the computer.
Thanks. It's great to see even the youngest in our community making good use of the library system. Stay right there. You're watching the Library Roadshow.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Hey, I'm Constance Wu. Did you know that Crazy Rich Asians was a book before it became a movie? You can still find books at the library, but libraries have so much more, including educational programs for families and opportunities for community engagement and professional development. So visit your library today.
My name is Melissa Easton, and I'm head of the Special Collections Department of the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, located on the second floor of the main library at Goodwood, where Baton Rouge history comes alive. Archives are collections of many different types of materials. Here in the Baton Rouge room, we have items made out of vellum, metal, glass, textiles, and even mud. Your home archive is most likely filled with a wide variety of materials as well. One single scrapbook can hold dozens of types of materials, from paper to photographs, and even locks of hair or pressed flowers. While each kind of material has its own unique care and handling needs, there are some simple things you can do to ensure the safety and longevity of your precious memories. Fluctuations in temperature and humidity have the potential to cause damage over time. So here in Special Collections, we must constantly measure these levels to ensure the long-term survival of our items. In your home, it's best to store personal collections in a heated and air-conditioned part of your home. It's also important to be aware of water sources and avoid storing your materials in an area that could experience flooding. The Society of American Archivists has declared May Preservation Month. During the month of May, the Special Collections Department will offer several classes focusing on preservation. On Sunday, May 5th, we will offer a scan day where you can bring in your personal materials and scan them on our professional flatbed or book scanners. A Preservation in the Home class will be offered on May the 19th, and a personal digital archiving class will be offered on Thursday, May the 23rd. All of these events require registration. To register for classes or find out more on preserving your precious memories, call us at 225-231-3752 or visit the Special Collections Department on the second floor of the main library at Goodwood, where Baton Rouge history comes alive.
You're watching the May edition of the Library Roadshow, a production of your East Baton Rouge Parish Library System. Now remember, preserving the past is not the same thing as hoarding, though we've got programs on that too. We're talking about safeguarding key items such as family photos, documents, and even three-dimensional items from the present so that they're still around in the future for those who follow us to study and enjoy. It's all available at the main library at Goodwood, and it's all free with your East Baton Rouge Parish Library card.
Each library branch location hosts programming geared towards the communities that they serve. I spent some time at one such event recently that I just had to share with you. Winter is here, but the excitement is red hot here at the main library for the Game of Thrones extravaganza. Let's check it out.
My name is Darcy Rohr. I am a teen librarian here at the main library. We are at the Game of Thrones After Hours extravaganza. So this is a celebration of Game of Thrones. You know, the last season of the show is about to start like next week. So we wanted to make sure we put something on really cool for everyone to celebrate.
Programming like this is designed to help foster community among our passionate patrons and to give people a reason to step inside the library.
It's really important to have these kind of events for the community because it brings new people in. So there are people who are really excited about Game of Thrones, about pop culture, who might not necessarily come to the library for just our everyday excellentness. So they might not be in here to look for a book. A program like this can get new people in that otherwise wouldn't find us.
And that's how you connect jousting with literacy.
Today we have, so the big things, we have the Society for Creative Anachronism here. They are doing fighting demonstrations as well as other big demonstrations. So they have weaving activities, they have like loom things, all sorts of stuff that are kind of more accurate to the histories of the time period that Game of Thrones is kind of set in.
Our main thing that draws people is going to be the fighting. We're going to be doing both heavy fighting, which is considered a martial art. It's done with rattan, steel cops. It is a full contact sport. We will also be doing light fighting, which you may be more familiar with fencing, things like that. We also have demonstrations of our arts. Our weavers will be out here. We have some folks sewing, doing some demonstrations on cooking and other things.
We have some wonderful vendors have come out. We have someone doing some beautiful hair braiding. We have some fabulous arts and crafts. It's just going to be a great time.
It really was a lot of fun. Folks really embraced the theme. You can look to the library for a reason to dress in period garb or a dragon costume anytime.
My favorite Game of Thrones character, honestly, is probably Tyrion. You can't escape the witticisms, but I would be remiss if I did not mention my favorite furry Game of Thrones character, which is Sir Pounce. He is so cute. We haven't seen him in a long time, but I love Sir Pounce. And guesses for the ending, I have no idea. I think a bunch of people are gonna die. I hope not everyone dies. I expect some amazing dragon scenes, but I have no clue how things are gonna end at all.
Wow, that event was every Game of Thrones fan's fantasy. To find out what's coming up next, pick up a copy of our monthly newsletter, The Source, or visit us online at www.ebrpl.com.
We like to keep our finger on the pulse of popular culture, and if we can find a book connection, so much the better. Fantasy, adventure, and speculative fiction have been staples of our entertainment reading since before the Chronicles of Narnia, The Wizard of Oz, and The Lord of the Rings. If you enjoy epic tales of princes, kings, and treason, we're happy to recommend books that suit your reading tastes. Whether you need your adventure to be family-friendly like our event, or if you're interested in something a little less tame, just ask. Librarians are standing by. And now for today's contest, visit the library's Facebook page at facebook.com/ebrpl. I like to hear about, or even better, see a copy of your favorite fantasy. I think I'll post the cover of The Thief from the Aetolian series by Megan Whalen Turner. That's facebook.com/ebrpl. And while you're there, enjoy. We're not your grandfather's library anymore. What's coming up on the Library Roadshow in June? Summer fun, of course. We'll be blasting off for the summer reading program. All ages, all locations, all summer long.
And coming up next month, I'll share another digital resource with you.
Tune in next month and I'll take you to the Baton Rouge Mid-City Microcon.
Thanks so much for joining us on the Library Roadshow. And remember, your East Baton Rouge Parish Library is open 7 days a week at each and every one of our 14 branches, plus 24/7 on the web. Check us out at ebrpl.com.
And that's how I roll.